All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to another day of AMX2. My name is Reed. With me is Weihan, and we are back again for our, I guess it's technically Saturday games, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome, Weihan. How are you feeling today?
Well, morning, Reed. Well, it sure is Sunday morning for us, but Sunday for all the drivers racing here. So, feeling good, and I think what's great for us is that we have yet another one of AMX's very unique and interesting car track combinations. So, of course, we have the 86s at Oulton Park, which is one of the best combinations to come by in this year. And we've also got another good combination, which is the TCRs at the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit. But of course, we're now coming to Oulton Park, one of the more interesting racetracks here on the iRacing service.
Absolutely. We have Oulton Park, and then of course Nurburgring a little bit later on with Toyota GR86s and Velosters, Elantras, that kind of thing coming your way today. And this is why Weihan was saying that Oulton Park is a little bit interesting. It's like a square racetrack, and then, oh, by the way, we've got this little like osmosis thing trying to happen off towards the side with a really long, narrow hairpin. So, kind of a cool idea, but let's see how our drivers handle it as we get into our first race of the day. 26, cloudy, some fair humidity at 35%. Of course, winds coming out of the northwest at 3 kilometers. I don't know where it just says 3 kilometers. But this is a look at our schedule. These are dates and races on these dates. So if you're ever wondering when our races are, based on the Eastern Daylight Time zone, are the dates. And of course, every race starts at 7:40 p.m. So probably if you guys are having a good weekend or getting off work, that's when you can come to race with us. These are the guys that have come to race with us, and this is just a look at kind of the caliber of our racers, and in addition, the I guess perks of racing with us the entire season. Thousands of dollars being given away, and it's not like we're just handing it out. You guys do have to win, and for Caio Gaspar, Gael Valero, Jackson Resende, they are some of the absolute monsters who have been winning a lot this season. As our top three, and this is how you win. This is what it looks like, okay? For an AMX 5 race, 5 means you pay $5 to get into the race, and this is what you win. So basically, if you get top 10, you're guaranteed to win money, and obviously if you get the fastest lap, then you also get another $5 on top of that for a total of $30 if you walk away with the trophy. So really cool to see so much extra support, and here are the people benefiting the most from that: Gael Valero, Gaston Presta Calavi, Diego, Quarantine Ganez. I'm not going to read the entire list. You guys can read, and if you can't, well, we've got a lot of cool things to watch for you today, including, and not limited to, the track that we are racing on today. Take it away, Weihan. What we have to look forward to from Oulton Park?
Yeah, so this is one of the more classic British racing tracks. Of course, Oulton Park has been on iRacing for a long time, and rather recently it's been made into a free content, so now everyone can try this racetrack. So the Oulton Park is typically a flowing, well, relatively mid to high speed flowing racetrack that's quite narrow, and it's got quite a lot of elevation changes. But of course, this layout that we're using, the international layout, does have some chicanes which will add a bit of safety for the drivers as they handle on this racetrack. So the car of choice, the weapon of choice that the drivers are using here at Oulton Park will be the very new GR86 Cup cars that have come onto iRacing just within the past year. So it's been a very popular race car of choice in North America, and it also is for the D-Class drivers here on iRacing, and it has presented a lot of close racing experiences that the drivers have come to enjoy on iRacing, and it's great that the drivers are using these 86 cars here at Oulton Park. Of course, it exists as a street car, but Toyota Gazoo Racing have kind of modified these cars for racing, and it's definitely a one-of-a-kind race car indeed that the drivers kind of are taking on around here.
Yeah, of course, very popular. Kind of hard to believe that iRacing existed for so long without these. These are, of course, what we call Scythe Chariot wheels. If you guys have played Age of Empires, that's what those look like. The most iconic part, of course, about 86s is not just that they have become such a staple, but also because a lot of American tracks and cars just go really hand in hand. Speaking of hand in hand, we're going to see the hands of one of our drivers as we start looking at our contenders for today's race. And when it comes to contenders, it doesn't get much better than the guys we have running today. But we're going to leave you in a little bit of suspense before we... Oh, I thought we were going to have a suspenseful reveal. It's Kalani Zamperlini, Resenge Leon, and Quarantine Ganez, who is on his out lap. We're going to come in and set a time for us today as we are finishing up our practice time. You get about an hour and 20 minutes. Come out here, practice on the trap. It looks like our racers have availed themselves of that opportunity. It is, I guess, worth to note, this is a fairly long track, so you're looking at a couple minute race times, or lap times for this race, which are going to make it a little bit more of a tour, so not something you're going to get a chance to execute a lot on, but it does mean that each part of the race will be unique and significant, so I'm excited to see what our racers have to say about it.
Oh yeah, indeed. So, well, we do see some cars spinning around, and one of the things with these A6 cars is that sometimes it has grip, it has a lot of grip, and sometimes it has just a bit too much grip at times, which just means that you have to be sometimes you have to be careful with oversteer at various points because these cars are just so nimble. But of course, that does mean that with these cars you get good racing action. So we do have a glimpse of some of the lap times that some of the drivers have already set down. So we are seeing lap times within the vicinity of 152 up all the way up to 154. So the drivers definitely are competitive in that aspect, and we should be expecting qualifying lap times to also be within that particular range.
Chilling out here for a second, Wayhan. The times we're looking at for qualifiers put Calavi up at the top with Zamperlini down there, and actually a newcomer, Lowy Santi. Santi? I'm trying my best here, guys. Has joined us here as our 6th racer of the day. This is one of the most exciting things you can have happen, right? You set your grid up, you're ready to go. Nope, thought you were ready to go. Another challenger appears. Lowy Santi getting in there with no time in qualifiers, or in practice. We will be here for the qualifiers.
Always a good thing to have more drivers take on the grid here at AMX. So it's great that we now have an additional driver, and that means one more additional competitor. Spice things up just a bit. So, well, definitely we do have 50% of drivers from Brazil, so definitely interesting stuff with 2 more from Argentina and of course one driver from France. Well, we've always had a diverse grid here at AMX, and it's definitely no different here racing here at Oulton Park, and that's definitely something great to see.
Okay, so that means that we are starting our qualifying time. If you're new to AMX, or you also want to be one of the electrifying drivers to join our drivers today, you can head on over to amxrace.com. That's amxrace.com, 1-800-5800-AMX if you want to join our show. 1 minute, 30 seconds out of 10, and that means that it's time. Okay, you've had your time to practice, and that means that guys like Quarantine Ganez, he's got the killer. Wayhan, wanted man in 35 states, and we're letting him race here because he's just too good to turn him in yet. However, he's running from the law. The other 5 racers, okay, we'll see if they are able to take him out here in this race. Obviously, one of the best racers that we've seen all season long here in the AMX, so it's it'll be exciting to see what he has to bring today. A driver that has already set some fastest lap times in these Toyota GR86s, so no stranger to these very familiar cars, and giving us a little bit of a show there with some lights action is Jackson Resenge, as we watch him and Calavi take their qualifying laps around Oulton Park.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I've not actually driven here a whole lot. I've only probably like once or twice because I have not bought this track before. I just made use of it when iRacing made it free. So it's one of those races that I don't really have much experience at. But I do understand that it has plenty of elevation changes, and that alone goes extremely well with these A6 cars, because these cars, they don't pack exactly a lot of power, but they do have quite a good power to weight ratio, and that means that these elevation changes will just add to the racing excitement that the drivers are going to face. And as we have a look at the drivers taking on qualifying, so I do kind of see that everyone's making good use of slipstream with one another. That's one of the benefits when you have good qualifying sessions like these. You can make use of the slipstreams that other cars, other drivers do offer you, especially along some of the straighter sections along Oulton Park circuit. So I do believe they are coming upon the final couple of sectors here at Oulton Park. So that should be turn 15 that the car's Quarantine Guinea is leading the rest of the field throughout, before then coming towards the final corner, and by that point we should see drivers put down perhaps their first qualifying lap time.
Whole lot of purple there. Quarantine Guinez continuing to improve on a good thing there. Good enough to catapult him up towards the top. Those times coming in, like you said, Weihan, and Guinez up there at the very top. Of course, Quarantine Guinez, one of the absolute monsters of AMX. You can see that reflected not only in his qualifying time, but also in that 8.9K I rating. I think second only to guys like Gael Valero, who's joined us this season, also a French compatriot there of Guinez, and honestly, it just doesn't get much better than that. Now, not flawless by any means. We've seen some crazy bumps and lumps and slumps, and maybe a few other things out there from Guinez this season, but for Zamperlini, a guy who's always contesting that top three, I feel like maybe today is his time to shine. We've seen a lot of success from the rest of our racers, but truly for Zamperlini, maybe today is that day. He's already set a very good qualifying time, but a couple of seconds back of our racer, or our qualifying time leader up there in that provisional pole, he needs to maybe step it up a little bit in order to keep it competitive and make a strong case for himself getting that pole position.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're now with Jackson Resenji, who's put down one purple sector. That means he's going to be the fastest session-wide with regards to timing at that sector, and they too are coming upon the final couple of sections. So their way around Druid's Corner, that's turn 15, I believe, that Resendi is making his way around before coming upon turns 16. And well, this is turn 16, but it's not the final corner. The final corner is a slight bit of a kink that will appear right in front there. Yeah, right here. That's turn 17 that Resendi is making his way around before coming across the start-finish line with a lap time of 1:52.435, which yeah, that doesn't set him up any position increases. Continues to sit there. Cole Harvey has taken provisional third place with a 1:52.912. So we can see that drivers have already continued returned to the yeah, that's someone who's gone around.
Man, getting our spins out of the way early in qualifiers today. A little crazy. Lois Santi mixing it up. And for guys like Santi, this is not a guy who is, I guess you just look at his I rating and you write him off, right? We've seen him come in, we've seen him get wins, we've seen him and Leon. I wish I could call this guy by his full name, but he's changed to Leon. Okay, so don't let his I rating fool you. He's absolutely one of our racers to watch. For Lois Santi, also a little bit of a newcomer, but somebody you also can't count out. So actually should be a very competitive race today. And as I was talking about, for guys like Zamperlini, right, he's always contesting some of those top racers, finishing very highly, and I mentioned he might need to step up his qualifying time, and he has. Now just a couple of tenths back of race leader Quarantine Guinez, although with a little bit of gardening like that, it's going to take him a little bit of a level up to continue to make that contest happen. And of course, down to the bottom, we do have times upwards of 2 minutes, with Diego having yet to set a lap time, just waiting, keeping us all in suspense. The actual.
Yep, certainly something that Diego has up his sleeves, providing us with surprises during races by not setting in a qualifying lap time. But yeah, still great nonetheless. So we are coming towards the final couple of moments in qualifying, and Gideon takes provisional pole from Fabio. take that from that opinion. I'm not too sure, but a 151.894, so new fastest lap time that he has set. Going kind of pushing the bar into the territory of 151s, which is definitely a blistering lap time with these 86 cars. So I think drivers would have one final lap around Oulton Park to set out their qualifying lap times, and definitely the drivers do have to make this count. It seems that Guinea is probably bailing from his qualifying attempt, knowing that he's probably comfortable with the lap time that he's set down, but the rest of the drivers are still making their attempts nonetheless. This is Gaston Coulthard with, oh well, that's a very nice red there on the 86. Taking starting a new lap, and well, just as he's taken turn 3, he's lost a bit of traction and he's gone a bit sideways, and that is probably going to affect his lap time.
He's just practicing that Tokyo drift a little bit there, Wei Han. You know, he's letting us know that he's so confident in his race performance that he can get a little bit of the showboating out of the way early, and let us see some of that. But I'm keeping an eye on the qualifiers here. It seems like Lawi Santi has yet to really put up a big number. This is group qualifiers, and that means that you can take a break, get back to the pits, get your freshness on, and then come back out for another 2 minutes. As long as you start that before qualifier time ends and the session expires, you're good. So we have seen some players absolutely opt to do that, where they will start things over right before the end of qualifiers, get out there and set the lap they always knew they could. And maybe we'll have that here. We still have the majority of our racers out there on the field, Oulton Park. Starting out, we're on with Fabio Zamperlini, who sets a 152, not good enough for that pole position.
Still a great lap time nonetheless. I think Zamperlini still continues to hold on to second, which is still a great vantage point, advantageous starting position indeed. So as the drivers take on their, well, final lap attempt, we can kind of see that the drivers here do have quite a prize pool. So if you do win the race here at AMX 5, you will be entitled to $25, and that in itself will contribute to the plenty of winnings that some of the drivers here have racked up. And of course, we've kind of passed the halfway point of the season, and the drivers are all kind of eased into the season, and right now at this point it's all about making the best out of whichever racing opportunities that these drivers get here. And we're now with Lawi Santi. We just have a look at some of the cars taking on the beautiful scenery here at Oulton Park. Of course, one of the best places to go racing in the UK. Typically, the cars that do well here at Oulton Park would be the TCRs. So I would have liked to see the TCRs take on Oulton Park. I think they've definitely done so multiple times here at AMX. So of course, with these 86s, they're still great nonetheless.
Yeah, that's the thing about Toyota 86, right? I mean, if you want to get like a production version of this, you certainly can, but this really shines here as a track car on our track. And of course, just want to highlight our production prowess, scrolling, of course, the prize distributions down on the bottom of your screen. $25. You're better than these players. Get on out here. Show us. And in fact, if you place top 10, coming away with a positive amount of cash, and we do pay out prizes of 20th place. So given that there are 6 racers right here, we're paying out up to 20th place. You guys can do the math. You're probably gonna have a pretty good time if you come and qualify with us. Even if you're last place, you know, you can't place lower than last. I feel fairly confident about that statement. So still good enough to get you way up in the money. So yeah, come on, head out, amxrace.com, where it's at. And now with our qualifiers done, that sends us back into a little bit of a poise of brief repose, if you will, as we populate our grid and get ready for, I believe, a standing start here today. Unless I have no idea what I'm talking about, highly possible. It is a standing start. My God, I'm so good at this.
Standing start with 86s. Okay, that's going to be really interesting. Of course, we probably won't expect the drivers spinning out because these cars have traction control, so don't have to be worried about that. Oh, that's cool having parked by the apex of that corner. Well, So 2 minutes for the drivers to start to grid up their cars, I presume. But we do have the qualifying results. Corentin Guinea will start from pole with Fabio Zampini alongside him on the first row, and already those two cars have appeared on grid. Jackson Rizenti will start from third, and Gaston Kulavi begins from fourth position. Laui Santi and Diego Villarreal from fifth and sixth position. Of course, Diego is also going to bring up some surprises without a qualifying lap time. That does mean that we haven't exactly got a clue of what his pace will be relative to the other drivers, but he will definitely put up a great show for all of us as well.
Okay, wait, Han. I'm gonna put you to the test. Okay. Hope you studied. Hope you got your pencil case out. All right. What will the fastest lap of this race be?
My guess 151s.
Okay. All right. 151. All right. I was looking for it down to a tenth of a second, but I appreciate the generality. We'll see. All right. We're gonna get things started with a little bit of smoke on the tires, a standing start, and off to a great start is Corentin Guinez. A little bit of grass in the tires there to start things off, but we are just seeing a grid start with the exact same positions just for now. Laui Santi at the back and Diego Leon ahead, so that's a little bit interesting, and already a little bit of gardening with Corentin Guinez pushed way off the track and now dropping way back. Not sure if there's a little bit of damage there, but for Guinez, he is taking an early back seat to guys like Resenge and Zamperlini now in the lead.
Yeah, Zamperlini takes the race lead with Resende second, and I think so certainly Guinea has to regain his lost ground as a result of all of that. And a bit of sliding there does what would appear to be Resende as he takes on the entry to the chicane there. But well, still great nonetheless. They're still on all fours, and they've come towards a single file as the lead as the field makes their way across the crest. And I am trying to figure out which part of the track this is. It would seem that the drivers, they're just making their way around Nurburgring. What would typically be a crest, a dangerous crest, is now replaced by a chicane. The drivers will make their way safely through, and they come upon the next half of the racetrack here at Oulton Park, which will see them take on a couple of not so straight sections, followed by two key right-handers, which will then round off their lap around here at Oulton Park. So coming upon what would appear to be the water tower, I think, or Warwick's Bridge. Well, these parts, they look quite similar before coming upon this right-hander, which will lead them towards another right-hander, presumably. No, that's a backstretch. Dear lead. So drivers come around the start-finish line for the first time, and Zampini sets a purple lap time of 2 minutes 2:08. Well, that does kind of mean that it is in fact the first lap. So if you want to see drivers entering the 151s, we'll have to wait until lap 2 at least. But there, Corentin Guinea takes the inside line of the first turn to retake some lost ground. He's back up to second. But this resulted close by the bumper of Corentin Guinea as both drivers go hard at it with each other, battling for second position. Of course, your race leader still is Fabio Zampellini. He leads most of the field by 8 and 9/10 of a second, but he will still continue. But of course, the close battle that is taking place here is exactly this one between second and third position. 3/10 of a second presumably separate both drivers here between second and third, as they head on towards the middle part of this racetrack.
Yeah, that's right. Coming around Old Hall, and this is why I was saying earlier, Weihan, Corentin Guinez is a bad man. He stole that spot from Jackson Resenge, and not willing to give it up, right? 2/10 of a second back and absolutely coming back for it. All it's going to take is one wide turn, one missed apex, a little bit of grass, and that is going to be Jackson Resenge's chance to get back up in there. So very, very excited to see if that does transpire. And for Guinez, man, he's really sort of living in the shadow of exactly what we're about to see a replay of right now. See what happens here. He comes around the side, and I'm not sure if he gets a little bit of a spin out or what happens here, but he's way out there and has to get back on track, but unfortunately too slow.
Yeah, so Guinea ate the grass quite a fair bit there along the exit of that corner, and really that opened the door for two drivers to kind of take his positions. But nonetheless, Guinea is now, while he's made a lot of lost ground and he's now hot on the heels of the race leader Fabio Zappellini. Indeed, the advantage down to 1/10 of a second. So any moment now, Guinea could be able to pull off an overtaking move. So they're now coming toward the hairpin, which is turn 5. Well, it is a banked hairpin, so the drivers can carry quite a fair bit of speed through that corner before coming upon, well, one of the many back stretches here. A right kick before coming upon yet another chicane.
Whoa!
Oh.
And he does it, or he's about to do it. Sorry, I'm used to Zamperlini having the yellow livery here, but he's coming around the outside. This is going to be it. Too wide coming through the chicane at Nickenbrook, and that means it's going to be about time. We're heading through the back stretch, and that means this is going to be the opportunity he's looking for. Can he make it stick around the inside? It's neck and neck, hundredths of a second separating, and it's not good enough just yet. A spin out there as Gulhavi gets absolutely dumpstered. Actually, no, it's Resenge that gets pushed out by Kalabi, and he is way back there. Not in the realm of Lawi Santi just yet, but a little bit of bulldozing coming in, and we might see the same thing all over again. Up here now, rejoining the back, or the front rather, of Ganez, continuing to try to get around that wide back end of Fabio Zamperlini, who had up to a 9/10 of a second lead. Now down to just mere tenths separating him, and Ganez, who continues to look for that overtake as we crest 4 laps. Down 5 more to go.
It does seem that it will be quite a fast race here at Oulton Park. And the one thing faster than a fast race here is the fast reflexes of Guinea and Zamperlini as they go on the battle for the race lead. So Zamperlini definitely holding his ground absolutely well here. Continues to lead Guinea down into the first sector of Oulton Park. But it is Guinea alongside, side by side with Zamperlini, and Guinea takes the race lead as along that stretch as he now takes on the favorite kick. So is Zamperlini able to retake the race lead as it is his turn to put the pressure on Guinea? And I'll tell you, the camera angles that you have here with those nose and gearbox cameras, it does kind of exaggerate the distances between cars, bumper to bumper. So certainly something to be intrigued by, indeed, with these drivers taking on close racing here. Zamperlini continues to sit in the slipstream of Guinea, and right now it's all about finding the slipstream, because here at Oulton Park there are plenty of straight sections just as there are corners and chicanes, and it's plenty good for drivers to kind of go close with one another. Guinea, your new race leader at lap 4 of 9 here at Oulton Park.
Man, to start in that pole position and then drop down to third and then climb all the way back up with now 3/10 of a second lead. Let's take a look at how that happened. He's coming alongside, and you can see right here he's not completely out of it just yet, but he gets the inside on that corner, and that sets him up for what is going to be, that's the bulldoze we saw right there. Not what you want to see, but it's what happens when you don't respect the distance there. Safe following distance, guys, not only going to help you on your commute, but also on your iRacing races. We rejoin our race leaders, Ganez and Zamperlini, who now finds himself half a second back. And man, what a performance by Quentin Ganez. You are really able to see why he is so successful at AMX, able to retake that lead position. But Zamperlini's coming for him. And we've seen Zamperlini do this a lot, Weihan, where he will be close to the front, even in the lead, and then drop back, keep it close, and then at the very last moment, make that big attempt at overtaking the lead. And he's in the draft zone right now, so he has absolutely the right to stay here for a little bit, and then bring it back and try to retake that lead for his own, as Santi actually pits for a second. Not sure if he's out of gas or what's up there, but he's coming back and maybe try to hit that fastest lap a little bit. Man, we do not respect chicanes here at AMX, Weihan.
But chicanes are good for the safety of drivers, at least in real life, but in sim, well, it just means that you have to brake more, and you have to keep yourself on your toes just a fair bit more. Well, speaking of commute, I wish I could commute in these 86 cars. That would be so nice, especially these 86 Cup cars. They're driving them down the city streets.
I mean, I feel like if you had an 86 in Singapore, the opportunities to really feel the full potential may be somewhat limited. Coming around the corner, though, I thought that was actually Zamperlini's time to shine here. He's looking at the inside, but he can't quite get around, and I think he's just content to sit back behind Zamperlini unless he really wants to make a move. We're only 5 out of 9 laps left, and ooh, Zamperlini, you can see he's looking for it. Can't quite get the speed he needs for that overtake.
Oh yeah, that was a close attempt indeed, but Zamperlini still needs a bit more oomph in order to find his way through Guinea to kind of retake the race lead. So definitely Zamperlini does have what it takes to retake the race lead. He just has to make it work at the right place at the right time here at Oulton Park. And the truth with Oulton Park is that you can have plenty of overtaking opportunities. It's one of those places, one of those racetracks where you can overtake in quite a lot of places, even though the track is relatively narrow. It just does mean that you have to make the opportunity come to you by being as close as possible to the car you want to overtake before then committing to that move at any point really here around Oulton Park. So Guinea takes Zamperlini around this banked hairpin indeed. Well, it's always nice to have hairpins that are banked. That means that you don't have to slow down that much and you can carry as much speed as possible. And it's very important to get that corner right because it then sets you up. As well as this chicane as well, it's important to get the exits of these corners right because these are places that kind of set you up for a straight section where you have to get your speed nailed down, in fact, in order to get the most out of your sector timings here at the various points. So Guinea continues to lead Zamperlini as they exit the second of 2 chicanes here at Oulton Park before coming upon what would appear to be one of the bridge sections. Obviously, with this being a old school classic racetrack, you don't have like perfectly straight sections. You have tracks that really follow the contour of the earth that the track is being built upon.
The contour of the earth, yes, very impressive in an important way, Han. For this and all of our racetracks, this is quite an up and down hill. You'll see this a lot from our British racetracks. They have quite the hills and dales. The dale, of course, being the opposite of the hill. Thank God we got rid of that one. Either way, Guinea still in the lead. Only 0.2 of a second separate him and Zamperlini. And Zamperlini, it's time, all right? You got 2 laps left. You got to make the break happen now. If you don't do it now, then the pressure is on, and Guinea can just put the pedal to the metal, defensive driving all the way to a win in the final lap. So 0.1 of a second, he's looking to come around the outside. The inside was open there for a brief moment, but closing that gap is Guinea, who makes it disappear right in front of Zamperlini's eyes. So a little bit too slow to come around the hairpin and make that happen, but we have a long straight with a couple of chicanes in there. So maybe once he hits the, once he gets past Nurburgring into Clay Hill, that sort of straightaway is going to be a great opportunity for Zamperlini to really get the speed he needs to reclaim that first space. We do have Lawi Santi rejoining us. I just thought I'd mention that as he sets 155, so by far not able to keep up with the rest of our pack, but still good enough to put him in 6th place. And so I was talking about earlier, guys, you absolutely can come out here and still make back your initial investment, with 6th place being quite a good placement, considering how strong our drivers are here. However, for the rest of the track, it looks a little bit more chill. The action we have sitting up here at the front, it's just going to be Guinea Zamperlini for the rest of the time. Guinea Zamperlini every season of AMX, these guys are going to be fighting it out way up at the top. We're getting an up-close look at the Condor on the front of, or rather, through the back rear view mirror of Guinea. This is on board now with that Condor. Not going to make noise. You all know what they sound like. Zamperlini really flapping at maximum speeds. Faster than you've ever seen a Condor fly before. It's Zamperlini looking for that. Now 1, now less. Well, 1, now 2. Oh my God, the electrification of this matchup is so much fun to watch, Wei-Han.
I think that's Guinea along the inside.
Oh, well, he was going going for it there, but you could really see as soon as Ginez got that notification, he's like, on your right, and he closed that door immediately. Zamperlini's putting the pedal to the metal, though. He is absolutely capable of overtaking here, but once again, like I was saying earlier, if you don't do it now, it's going to be very, very difficult to make it happen in this now final penultimate lap of our race. 8 out of 9. And these are very, very long laps, as you can see right now, coming through the back chicanes there. Knickerbrook crested into that Clay Hill water tower coming up, and maybe this is the time. I keep talking about that that top speed. Zamperlini now going to be able to hit it as we come through this back stretch, and he's only got about 1 or 2 more times. Wait on. Do you think he can bring it home?
The opportunities are kind of becoming a little more limited in that aspect. So, of course, the pressure is on Guinea to continue holding his race lead to ensure that he doesn't leave any door open for Zamperlini to take on the to kind of go for the race lead, because that's exactly what Zamperlini wants to do. Any remaining opportunities that are left is what Zamperlini will go for. So coming upon the final lap, indeed, it's going to be white flag, and Guinea will continue to lead Zamperlini as they make their way through the start of lap 9 and coming around the first couple of corners for the final time. I think if Zamperlini does want to make this work, he has to, first of all, he has to close that gap, which he shouldn't have trouble with, but also with 1 lap left, that's going to be a bit of a challenge. Yep, so closing up the gap indeed. Zamperlini 4/10 behind Guinea, and they'll continue to take on the various corners here, and really the clock is kind of ticking for Zamperlini if he wants to go for an attempt, as he does seem to want to do so indeed. That's the habit that they are taking up, that they are coming upon, and it is going to be quite a close fight to the finish.
Fight to the finish. Indeed it is. Zamperlini really, really looking for this. I think once you give him a taste of what that lead looks like, especially with Ginez all the way back in 3rd, to have had it and lost, really bittersweet for Zamperlini, but I think it's going to be a little bit too little too late as we come around the first chicane there, Hislop's, and now looking for I guess for the most part, just a pretty straight away, with the exception of that Druids and Lodge coming up. We are about to see the checkered flag here, Weihan, and it looks like it will be a Ginez victory unless something monstrous happens. We've seen race leaders change in the blink of an eye on these final laps, and unfortunately we don't have Gael Valero to make things a little bit more of an upset, but with Zamperlini 5/10 of a second back, it looks like he will not be able to overtake on the final corner of our race. Coming up on the grid, it is Ginez in the lead, dropping back and now retaking his crown. The top of the podium is his, Ginez, followed by Zamperlini with Kalavi coming right back behind him for the 3rd and final space on that podium. Zenje, Young, and Santi bringing up the rear. Like I said, still respectable placings. Top 6 is top 6. And with the way that we're distributing the prize pool this season, it is still pretty good. You're definitely going to make your money back, and you're going to hit at least, 10, 15 bucks, and that is more than the 5 you have to put in. For Quarantine Ginez, not only does he have the fastest lap, fastest time, he has taken home a fat $30 for only having put 5 in. So really, really cool to see such dominance there. Quarantine Ginez, your race winner for our time here on Oulton Park.
No, certainly great stuff indeed. We've seen some good racing action, and well, it does go to show that Reed, I think Oulton Park provides excellent racing indeed, and of course with these X6 cars, it just makes the racing so much more exciting, as this is Santi who takes on the track. He's the only one left on the track, and it does give us the opportunity to admire the amazing 8.6 machines that these drivers are taking on around here. And yep, Santi does park his car as well, and will join the rest of the drivers in the paddock.
And these are your final standings. Ginez, Zamperlini, Kalavi, Resenge, Leon, and Santi, Lawi Santi there at the end. Still very respectable times. Not sure we quite hit that 151 you were talking about earlier. Did we? I wasn't paying that much attention, but we'll see if we can get a little bit closer on our second race of the day. And of course, 90% of life is just showing up, Weihan. And so very happy that you did that, but also that our racers all did that. Truly rewarded. 6th place is good enough to get you your share. Let me check out what we have. Change the prize pool up a little bit. For AMX 5, 6th place is plus 10. So $5 to get in, you get $10 out, double your money. Not bad. 6th place there for Maui Santi there at the bottom. So that is going to do it for our first race of the day, Weihan, but it's not over yet. We just get your feedback coming up. We have Hyundai Velocitors and Elantras on the Nurburgring Grand Prix coming up. What do you think of that upcoming race, Weihan?
Yeah, Reed, certainly looking forward to that because we typically see sports cars, GT cars, prototypes, and Formula 1 cars, especially at the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit. Not always do we see touring cars, and I think that's going to be exciting indeed because Nurburgring, well, it's a typical Formula 1 racetrack. And when you put TCRs at typical Formula 1 racetracks, the racing does get quite interesting because you have plenty of space to kind of stretch out those cars. And what that means is that with those TCRs at that track, we will have drivers kind of pushing the cars to the limit and having plenty of good racing action as well. So certainly looking forward.
All right, well, I have been pushed to my limit here today, Weihan. I can't stand one more moment of your shenanigans, and that means that I'm going to take some time to cool off while we get into our next race. It's only going to take about 10 minutes, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more. Putting up. We'll be right back with even more of AMX Season 2 right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light Reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Break Reminder and Force Break help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force Break activates to rest your eyes. Eye Care U. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Break reminder and force break help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force break activates to rest your eyes. I care you. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Break reminder and force break help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force break activates to rest your eyes. I care you. Safeguard your eyes.
our second or last race of the day. It depends on if you're a racing half full or half empty kind of guy. Rehan, what kind of guy are you?
Well, it depends on the context. Typically half full, but sometimes half empty when things don't look good. But things look good here. Uh, coming to Nurburgring with the TCR cars, and I'm certainly really excited.
Yeah, it's a great way to put it. TCR is coming up. We're doing a Hyundai Elantra. Usually that is, I guess, what we see most of. And of course, if that's not your cup of tea, then you could also bring out the Velocitors. Actually, I take it back. Probably our more popular car. I don't know. We'll find out when we get into our next race. The track is the Nurburgring. Anyway, it's a Grand Prix track, and these are our conditions. Exactly the same as our previous race. Wow. So shocking. Pretty sure this is what we race on most normally. So I took a class called Introduction to Topology in school, Weihan, and that reminds me that this track and all other tracks are exactly the same. They all form a donut. These are things I can just say without repercussion while everybody else rages at me. It's also the 32nd race day on June the 3rd here for us and for a lot of the other people watching everywhere around the world. This is what's on the line today. It is AMX 20, the pinnacle of racing at AMX Season 2. $20 to get in, but a 605 point race total. That means for first place, you're looking at $100. Fastest lap gets you 20 more for a total of 120. And if you place in the top 10, you are making money. 20 and 30 out. If you are in that 10th place, even 11th, 12th, and 13th break even. And after that, I mean, we would have to have a very strong lineup for you to place less than 15th, right? So, odds are ever in your favor. I did just raise my 3 fingers, in case you guys are wondering. It is a great day to be racing AMX 20 with our TCRs here on the Nurburgring. A look at our standings. There it is. Sorry, I had to read down there a little bit. Kyle Gaspar, Fabio Zamperlini, and Victor Miranda all up, cresting that $1,000 mark. Victor Miranda at 749, Fabio Zamperlini right alongside him, and Kyle Gaspar up at 949. What a monster. So some very skilled drivers coming at you today, and they will be coming at you on our upcoming track, the Nurburgring. It is always a treat to be bringing out this very iconic staple of racing around the world. And why don't you go ahead and tell us what we have in store here on the Nurburgring? Weihan?
Yeah, certainly. So we are coming in particular the Grand Prix layout, and not any Grand Prix layout, the Grand Prix layout without the Mercedes Arena here at the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit. So it's a little different from what you usually race here with like Formula 1 cars and GT cars, because well, turn 1 is just a chicane, and after you rejoin the rest of the track, you don't have that complex left-right segment in there. But of course, this track has seen plenty of racing action. Of course, most of us car enthusiasts, we know of the Nurburgring as the whole big Nordschleife layout that's a North Loop, but of course we're not racing that. That will be quite a challenge with these TCR cars. So, of course, this place has seen plenty of, well, it is the home of the German, one of the 2 homes of the German Grand Prix. It's also seen races like the WEC, as well as some Blancpain series back in the past, and also the world-famous 24 Hours of the Nurburgring. So, of course, it then plays host to the TCR cars that are listed here at AMX. So, well, in particular, the TCR cars that we're racing, well, they are the Hyundai Elantra and the Veloster machines. Wow, you see, definitely some great scenes of these beautiful Hyundai TCR cars indeed. So, these are quite special racing machines. They were just released in just the recent years prior. There was one with them being like sedans and hatchbacks. So, well, of course, these TCR cars, popular format of racing, first started in 2014, and they've kind of made their way into many national and regional level racing leagues indeed. And well, what that means is that with these TCRs, you get excellent racing at an affordable entry point, and that's definitely the case with the drivers here as well.
actually saw one of these cars over the weekend. I was like, oh hey, there it is. Elantra and Veloster coming your way today. When it comes to TCRs on the Nurburgring, it is 2 minutes thereabouts, 2:05, 2:07, that kind of thing you're looking for on your fastest lap times. And that means that once again, it is going to be a little bit of a longer race, kind of like our Oulton Park. A Milka livery, that has to be Xamper. Come on. I have not seen this guy before. Very, very excited, and also now hungry. You know, as an American, I only know what like Butterfinger and Snickers are. So when I traveled internationally for the first time, Weihan, I was getting out there. I was like, all right, let me experience the pinnacle of a European Belgian chocolate, right? So I get one of these Milka bars, and it turns out it's actually not only completely generic, but sold in like every country around the world. So I was really thinking I was getting something special here, but very, very disappointed. However, today, very excited for our Milka car and all of our privateers. Of course, not actually all privateers. Some of these guys are incredibly talented on some of the best teams in the world, and actually some of the best racers in the world. Inez and Resenge way up at the top, and this is basically a who's who of our previous racers, right way on. We've got absolute monsters, and speaking of which, we've got to see if Inez is able to take home yet another win, or if guys like Fabio Zamperlini can take it back. Get a little bit of revenge for that overtake towards the end of our first race. See if he can take a championship home for himself.
Yeah, so I think hopefully we will see a Resende versus Zamperlini versus Guinea later on, because that will be certainly exciting in the end. I stand corrected, we are using the Mercedes Arena, so I think the track map was, I think I didn't exactly identify that from the track map, but yeah, well, that just means that maybe a 5% added challenge for the drivers, but nonetheless, the Milka car here is here to save the day, and that's going to mean that the drivers will definitely have a good time racing around here at the Nurburgring. You can just see that racing it here at the Nurburgring. One of the things with this track is that it's quite a narrow place to be. You can kind of go 3 wide here if you're brave enough, but you won't do more than that. But I think otherwise it's one of those places where you just have to be more careful with your racing line as you take these corners. But the one thing about the Nurburgring, of course, is seen a lot of racing action in the past, and of course that means that it's, of course, one is a place of rich history, and of course TCRs being quite a new car, it's definitely going to be an interesting prospect for the drivers. Cole Harvey, that indeed he's the one with the Milka car, and it's great that even on the overlays you can see the the exact paint scheme you have on cars on the cars over trading paint loaded into the overlay itself. So certainly excellent stuff indeed. So 2 minutes into qualifying, drivers are just about to complete their outlap, and perhaps in another 2 minutes we will then see drivers set out their lap time.
Yeah, big fan of our new trading paints liveries showing up there. Probably not something that took more than about 1 or 2 minutes to add, but you know, I'm just trolling our production team. Big fan of a lot of the upgrades, including the upgrades to our drivers. I look back with the fondness of a great-great-grandfather, Weihan, at the beginning of this season, and just think about how far our drivers have come, not just in their choice of livery, as you right here on your screen, but also because just the skill, the development over the course of an entire season. You are really getting a chance to see these guys grow and learn, improve all of the things that are most rewarding in life, aside from conquering your enemies and seeing their armies driven before you. The idea is that we have continually improving players, and this is a look at one of them, Fabulous Fabio Zamperlini on your screen. Very disappointed that he doesn't actually have a livery skin on in real life. We'll have to settle for the one in the game.
It'd be nice if Fabulous Fabio had a bright purple Milka t-shirt on. No, that would be that would be so perfect.
No. I'm talking about body paint, Weihan. One thing,
What?
right? We gotta get one of those Tanukis, right? And really live up to the what we've all come to expect from Zamperlini as one of the most colorful icons of AMX Season 2. Of course, very cool to get a chance to check out our players there as they drive in the most intense online competitive settings, Weihan, you really see the laser focus required. He's so consistent, so powerful, so immense. Weihan, you got a chance to look at it in all of its glory there. Fabulous Fabio. Glad to have you guys alongside us today. Wow, a little bit of curb action there on board with, I believe this is Resenge? I'm not sure, but wanting to rubberize as much of the track as possible here in qualifiers and see what we can set as far as lap times are concerned. Long laps, so don't get too many options here. Setting over 2 minutes across the board with a 2:10 good enough to put Quarantine Gannett in provisional pole position.
So the lap times have started to come in, and you can kind of tell that racing here at the Nurburgring is one of those longer places and relatively lower speed in that sense, because all the lap times are way more than 2 minutes. They're all at least 2 minute 10s and above. So qualifying lap times wise, the drivers are all within lap times of 2:10 to 2:13. So a good spread in some ways, with most of the drivers being within the 2:12. So a good indication of where exactly the drivers stand with regards to one another. But clearly, Corentin Guinea has almost a second. His lap time is almost a second faster than the rest of the drivers. So I think that's a good indication that Guinea might have a good shot at perhaps bagging this, but of course not after, not before coming under quite a lot of pressure from the rest of the drivers. So we're now with Guinea again as we observe him. But don't forget, Guinea, he was a series champion in the Touring Car League. So this, in many ways, is his comfort territory, so to speak, with these TCR cars. So we should expect a lot from Guinea as he takes his car around this track.
Wait a second, Weihan, are you trying to tell me this guy's like good at racing or something?
I wonder.
No, because like I thought it was like golf and having a high I rating is like a bad thing, right?
Well, we can definitely see as the race unfolds itself.
Appropriate laugh there. Exactly why we pay you the big bucks to be here, Weihan. Appreciate the encouragement as I face increasing imposter syndrome here. Quarantine Gannett at the top with a 2:10. I was actually mistaken along with you, Weihan, about whether or not we were using the Mercedes-Benz arena here, which definitely changes your lap times a little bit. So for TCRs, you are definitely looking at closer to a 2-minute lap time, 2:10. Actually, no, it's I think record set is 2:08. I'm mistaken. So maybe still a little bit of a room for improvement here as we near the end of our qualifiers. 10 minutes on the board, 7 of them gone, and Quarantine Gannett in front by about a second. So that is impressive. 2:10 there, and kind of interested to see what the rest of our racers look like, right? Because we had Fabio Zamperlini in the lead for a lot of our first race in those Toyota 86s. And as we come back in, we're seeing kind of a little bit of a shake-up here. One of the biggest mind-blowing moments, brain blasters, Weihan, is Diego Villarreal, known here as Diego Leon, if I can completely butcher that, is qualifying. What the heck? Why is he up here? 2:13 on the board. Good enough for 5th spot. See if Lauizenti can maybe make him continue his trip through purgatory here. Hating qualify for most of our races. He's here. He's back. And he's getting that 5th place spot on the grid with his name on it. 2:13 until we complete our next lap, coming up here in just a few seconds.
Yep, so we're coming towards the end of the qualifying, the final moments of qualifying, and we do see both of the drivers settling in with the ideal lap time, and the ideal lap time for Corentin Guinea is more than 1 second faster than everyone else. So, well, if that's anything to go by, I think we might see a particular outcome. I'm not going to say what, but it's definitely going to be a particular outcome later on. When the green flag flies. So Guinea around the chicane. Well, it does happen that the chicane that's being used here is the one that's used by the Formula 1 cars and not the one that's used by most of the other GT cars that come around here. The slower chicane indeed, the NGK chicane, the one with more angular corners. Wow, look at that, mounting the curve up there indeed. So The thing with the Nurburgring is that the curbs here are definitely very steep. It is the case over at the Nordschleife, and certainly here as well. The curbs here are much taller than at many other tracks, and sometimes when you have the car on it, it's quite a hilarious scene, as you've just seen, kind of Zeppelini take on that corner there, riding the whole curb, mounting his car up there. As comes on the first corner, and obviously the sharpest corner that Fabio will take with his TCR car before coming into the Mercedes arena. So yeah, just gonna follow through, and you can just see the amount of focus required to take your car around the Nürburgring circuit.
Yeah, of course, Fabio really putting in the work here. You can see him sitting there in third, but after a couple of laps around the actually no, it's not the Nordschleife. This is yeah, it's not going to take 30 minutes to get around. Really competitive times. That even by Lawi Santi, who comes back and puts up a very respectable number there with a 2:13, really keeping it close, so leveling up a little bit. And this is TCRs on the Nürburgring, so this is going to be a car and a track that maybe a lot of other racers are very familiar with, right? So checkered flag coming down. This is going to be, for all intents and purposes, it. Weihan, as we start to get our cars off the track. Resenje is still in that second place, but has the remainder of his lap to go, and that means that still a chance to see some upsets coming through, but doubtable. As we end our round of qualifiers, it is going to be Quarantine Guinness at top, and unless a miracle can happen, you can see the lap times down at the bottom. It is probably going to remain the same with Senjay in second and Lamborghini coming up there in third.
Also, great scenes here qualifying. Well, you can just see them hitting the curbs, eating up the curbs. So of course, these TCR machines are made to tank those curbs, so nothing for the drivers to worry about. Yeah, going over the bumps like as though it's nothing, and go half wheeling this curb as well. You can just see the bank angle of the car as they ride the curbs. Certainly very very exciting stuff indeed. Well, that's Diego Villarreal coming upon the final corner, and does he set a lap time as he comes around? Wait, Diego Villarreal is out doing a qualifying lap time, and well, first time I'm seeing something like that.
That's what I was saying, right? And he actually improved on his time there at the very end to really defend that position from Lawi Santi, who set a very similar one. So really cool to see Diego Villarreal, aka Diego Leon, there in fifth, getting himself into the strange and unknown land of not the back spot on the grid. Of course, he is still back there, so maybe a little bit familiar, but this is a look at our liveries, our starting positions on the grid. We get ready for lap 1 out of 8. It's a cold, hard still start here for our racers. Yucadez and Resenje maybe battling a little bit for that lead. Let's see if we have any change to our initial formation. We come around turn 1.
Yep, drivers taking down into turn 1. That's being led by Quarantine Guinness, so great stuff indeed. Jackson is ending for. There's some overtaking moves happening down in the background. Drivers are down into a single file as they come from the Mercedes arena. So certainly all the drivers are very much tense. And that seems to be an overtaking move by Gaston Coavi and Diego Leon. Indeed, so battle there for third position. Some drivers swapping positions behind there. It's been a great start to the race, so to speak, with Guinea continuing at the race lead.
Yep, Guinea way up there. Nothing too exciting to write home about there, but Zamperlini falling down a couple of places. Did not get the start that he wanted for sure, and I'm not sure exactly what played into that. Didn't get exactly the best angle, but for the most part, you expect to see him a little bit higher. And this is a guy that was a killer. He was looking for as many overtaking opportunities as possible. The race leader from our first race of the day now finds himself in fifth, definitely a little bit below the standards that we expect. So absolutely looking forward to him climbing up for him to do that. Just setting the tone a little bit, and maybe this is not a racetrack that is as familiar for Lamborghini, right? You would imagine so, because this is just such an iconic track, but it is absolutely anybody's game with Resenge and Kalavi rounding out that podium with Gannett up there at the top. Less than 10th of a second here, which means Kalavi is going for it. Let's see if we can get this overtake on.
Yep. Seems to be an overtaking move by. Oh, that's certainly very close. Oh, the drivers come together. That's Zamperini and what would appear to be Resende. They've come together, and of course the Milker kind of makes it unscathed out of the incident, but someone has bit the dust, and that was Jackson Resende, who's unfortunately found himself faced the wrong way around. And the battle continues here between Zamperini and Kohavi. So Zamperini now goes with the advantage. He slingshots up to second position with Kohavi in third.
Yeah, you can see, Weihan, the absolute look of flabbergastination on Fabulous Fabio's face. He is so lucky to have made it out of there, and with a very, very, I guess, intense battle right now with that Milka car. Him and Kalavi really trying to take the scraps of this podium left over, some drifting around the corner, and a very good control, managing to hang on to what was a little bit of a scary moment there. Zamperlini Kalavi leading the pack now with a 10-minute or a 10-second interval. Feels like a 10-minute between them and Quarantine Gannett, who checked his rearview mirror and really did not want to have anything to do with whatever was happening back there. A very, very difficult moment, with most of our racers headed back to the pit, pitting, and now coming back with like 10-second differentials between these guys on the track.
Yeah, it seems that Kohavi has copped a bit of chassis damage there, so that might kind of put a spanner in the works for in terms of his pursuit for an overtake. So, well, nonetheless, the race still goes on. Kohavi still continues to push his car through the Schumacher S's this part of the racetrack, and of course, his next goal is to try to close as much as possible, try to close his gap with Zamperini. That might be a difficult prospect, but it is something that he's definitely determined to do indeed. So the gap between Zamperini and Kohavi sits at around 2.5 seconds, and that seems to be quite a fleeting number, as it does seem to increase. It seems to be increasing as they come upon the backstretch here at the Nurburgring, and that might just continue to be the case as they complete the lap here. So Zamperini doing a good job holding on second place. Let's have a quick look at the replay, which might surface up soon. And this is the incident at the end of the lap one.
Okay, who gets this incident point? Okay, coming around the corner, and it actually looks like our green livery hitting in there to, I guess that was Kalavi, and really just every single car, with the exception of our race leaders, just getting a little bit of a bump there, taking the immediate trip out to the pit lane. Not a bad idea. And in fact, I think 4 of our racers opted for that, except for our first 2. And for Kalavi there in the Milka car, I guess it's not really worth it for him to pit, even though he has a bunch of damage, because he's got this spot with a 2-second window on both sides, so probably good enough to just chill. But actually, in the meantime, we've actually missed a little bit of something else happening out on the track, because we had Gannett in the lead, but now Zamperlini and Leon are 13 and 21 seconds back of the lead. I'm not exactly sure how we wound up at that spot. It could just be because their cars have sustained heavy damage, and this is just where they will find themselves falling further and further behind.
Yeah, in some ways indeed. So Villarreal continues to sit in third, and this is Kohavi who's definitely going on an attempt to perhaps think of an overtaking move on Villarreal. So, dude, I can't get enough of this livery, man. It looks really, you know, and when you see racing cars with liveries of, you know, food brands that you know and love. Of course, Milka being one of quite a known chocolate brand around the world, as Kohavi goes for the move for third position as they enter the Schumacher. As Kohavi up to third, with Diego Villarreal pushed down to fourth position.
Alright, I was looking. What do you believe is the name of the color of the Milka livery? Wait on.
Gosh, you got me damn. I'm not sure what's the name of the exact color.
I was thinking it was more of like a Barney color, but I was thinking, okay, my best guess was periwinkle. Okay, turns out is a unique lilac color that is made as a proprietary secret within the Milka factory. So very rare to see exactly this particular shade. Although I must admit, Weihan, I agree, it looks quite choice out here, and it's good enough for top 3. So if you believe the hype that liveries make your cars move faster, then good enough for a top 3. And this is, don't forget, an AMX 20 race, Weihan, and that means that there's even more money on the line than ever before, with AMX 20 giving you, I think this is $60 for a first place, tripling your money as long as you have that Milka livery. We're not sponsored by them yet. Milka, if you're out there, big fan, hit me up.
Yeah, sometimes definitely one of the popular chocolate brands here in Singapore would be Cadbury. They've got quite a similar color in some ways, but it is like purple as well, but a darker shade of purple. So yeah, I keep thinking about Cadbury whenever I see Milka.
Yeah, no, those eggs, man. They were actually the only eggs you were allowed to have in America for a while. Kinder eggs were banned in America. They were incredibly dangerous. Weihan. Many sad deaths of heroic Americans because of Cadbury egg. But thankfully, we now have the freedom once again to purchase those along with, I guess, basically all egg-shaped chocolate. Big fan. So,
Kinder Surprise.
oh yeah, those guys.
You think
yeah.
that's
Big
what
surprise.
it was called? Yeah.
Sometimes the surprise is death.
Bruh. That took a dark turn real quick. You know, Reed, I'm wondering if the drivers will have any Kinder surprises for us viewers here.
My Kinder surprise, Weihan.
So Gideon comes with a Kinder surprise as he takes lap 5 of 8. And his Kinder surprise is a 16-second lead ahead of everyone else on the grid. Of course, he leads Zappellini by that huge of a margin, and he's one of the drivers who's not gone into the pits. Oh, there's an odd sounding bird outside my window now.
That's how you know you have woken up way too early, Weihan. See what I did there?
Gosh, yeah, the birds woken up as well.
Maybe they want to come watch some iRacing. You should leave your window open. You can be our version of an iRacing Disney princess, Weihan. The birds can come in and conversate with you.
Oh, that's a good idea. I think I should switch off my noise cancelling and like pick up some of the chirps outside. Yeah, there you go.
Can't hear it yet, though I expect a bird cam for our next broadcast, okay?
Okay, good idea. I'll work on that. Maybe get some fruits on the window or something.
Oh yeah, plus might get a camera bonus if you're able to bring us more content here. So let's take a look at our this is pit stops. Everybody in the bot 4 with at least one, with Santi with 2 pit stops. I'm not sure exactly what was the purpose for his second one, but he is sitting back down there at the bottom, which once again, let me point out, let me be clear. It is still 6th place, which is still good enough in AMX 20 for a big chunk of change. That is $40, still doubling your money. If there are 6 racers and you place last, you get double your money. I'll let you guys do the math on that, but double is pretty good. And we're giving you all of this, even if you are a minute behind the race leader, Quarantine Guinness, with an 18 now second lead ahead of Zappellini, who's got a 20-second lead on Calavi. Absolutely incredible separation here, really getting lonely out there on the Nurburgring.
Lap 6 of racing action here. Resende is sitting in 5th position. So at this point, most of the cars are quite spaced out from one another. I think, of course, the closest one being Villarreal versus Colavi, so both these drivers are quite close together. That's the only kind of not sure if it's a battle, but it's one of the only parts of the grid where we can see kind of the cars quite close together in some ways. So, of course, they've all put up a good show for all of us. I think plenty of positions have kind of changed from the start of the race, and but that just means that the drivers they've definitely had a good run here, and they'll continue to take on the remaining 2 laps here at the Nurburgring.
We're gonna take a little replay here to see exactly what is happening. We had a few things we didn't catch on screen. Let's see what's on our way here. Ooh, a little bit of a fight there, coming around the corner and being pushed way wide is what gives us that separation there. And now I think here the revenge there, coming in the inside. I'm not sure if that was a push there, but Kalabi definitely forced to take the wider angle, coming around, and at some point he loses it here. I'm not sure exactly where, but spinning out and hitting the brakes there a little too hard. Lock him up to a 20-second deficit somehow. Obviously, that doesn't tell the entire story, because just hitting the brakes is not going to give you a 20-second backtrack, but it is still really impressive to see Zamperlini very, how do you say, strong driving out there, giving him a massive lead in that second place position.
Yeah, that was an interesting altercation there in some ways, as we now have a look at some of the other drivers. Zamperlini fighting up in second indeed. I mean, of course, we know Zamperlini as one of the drivers with many with all his very illustrious paint schemes. As I wonder what Zamperlini is looking at. Is he looking at the pit wall or looking at some of his pit screens?
No. His fat stacks of cash littering his apartment. Guy, obviously incredibly handsome and well rewarded for it. That's why we asked him to turn his camera on. We're not getting the full Zamperlini experience, although we did take the word fabulous out of his name, so very upset about that. Either way, he's good enough for a second place coming around through our penultimate lap here. That means that next to last, Weihan, if you really want to prove that you got a high score on your college entrance exams, which of course I'm very insecure about having done very poorly. However, of course, good enough to get a degree. I really feel like the message here, not only that anybody can race in iRacing, but truly a metaphor for life, that you just got to show up, which of course is my admonition not only to our drivers, but to our potential drivers. If you're out there watching, hey, how's it going? Get out here. It's amxrace.com. If you, let me talk to you, okay? Brad, no. Who's the racer that's watching but not typing in chat? I'm gonna go with Kevin. Okay, well Kevin, it's your lucky day, all right, buddy. It's time. AMXrace.com. I promise you. You type it in. Say you have a 3-lap deficit. We're still hitting you with like $16. Okay? Actually, no, it's even more. Oh my God, yeah. So say you entered Kevin right now. $35 coming your way, no matter how badly you do. Okay? I'm not gonna really spell it out, but like, if you'd like to almost double your money, and you have the ability to download via the internet, via your 56K modem, a copy of iRacing, and overnight you can load into this session, $35 plus 15 is coming your way. So it's amxrace.com. Perfect timing there on the chat. There it is. And the only reason I am talking about this is because we are on lap 8 out of 8. It's a white flag, and for all intents and purposes, that white flag signals, strangely enough, Weihan, not the surrender of our Frenchman Guinness. He's still way up there at the front. It signals that the race is, in fact, almost over, with Zamperlini 24 seconds back. Something tells me, I'm going to use my racing ESP, Weihan, to tell you that this may be a look at what our final standings look like.
Well, certainly, final lap of racing is where, obviously, with the white flag lap, that's the lap that you have to push the hardest that you can. But of course, Gina he's all the way up there already. He's all the way up in the race lead with basically the car that he's won championships with. So absolutely no questions as to how he's able to defend his race lead, because it's all the way up front. He's extended the lead ahead of the rest of the field up to 25 seconds, and as it comes around the second half of the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit for the final time. I think he definitely does have this back here, Reed.
Yep, going all the way down, coming all the way back up in a league of his own. Quarantine is way up there, and he will be coming around looking for a finish ahead of schedule, I would say. Weihan, we are. I'm just looking at how much track there is left between him and Zamperlini. 26-second lead. He could like get out, go get some coffee, come back, spin around, do a little dance, make a little love, and still finish in first place, which he will do. A very early checkered flag coming in for Quarantine Inez as he will come around the NGK chicane, around that final corner, through the finish line, and into the record books. The record books, Weihan, forever commemorating the widest margin for a win in AMX Season 2.
Oh yeah, certainly great performance indeed. And Zamperlini comes home in second, obviously bounding that 26-second advantage. Well, Zamperlini put up a great show indeed, especially in race 1. And the Milka chocolate car comes around in third. I am very tempted to see if I can peel off the wrapper of this Milka Hyundai and maybe eat it or something.
And very in a request for us to get those in the office out here. Congratulations to our racers, Gaston Preston Kalabi coming in third, and Zamperlini there, our second place on the podium. Ooh, get a little ice day out there, a little bit of showboating, and is that Morse code for Rita Super Attractive? I think it might have been. Weihan, you may be correct me on that. A Morse code aficionado, as we all know.
It could well be.
Exactly. See, that's
It
the
could
expert
definitely well
weighing in on this. Glad you could put those multiple telegraph degrees to use there towards the end of our race. Whoa! All right. Really revving up for some max speed there. Helping us out on the highlight reels for sure. He is not a big fan of Milka. Maybe lactose intolerance. What that looks like on your screen. So, big congratulations to our 6 racers who have been on board with today for both of our races, and that is a look at what the final standings look like. Laui Santi does finish in that penultimate place, but Diego Villarreal, really big improvement. He finishes up there in 4th place. Really impressive to see such an improvement from a guy that doesn't even come out and qualify most of the times. He is in 4th place, and just like I said, Kevin, anybody else out there who wants to join our race will at worst come in 7th place, a plus 15 for a total of $35 coming your way, unless you want an extra 20 and get that fastest lap. It is a 7 or 6 driver race for us today, and very excited to have been on board for that. Of course, big fan of everybody else who was visiting us as we checked out the Nurburgring. Very exciting race. Any final thoughts, Weihan, before we close it out?
Well, that incident at the end of lap 1 was something that we didn't expect at all. Well, that was certainly took us all by surprise, but otherwise I think the racing here has been relatively clean, pretty much all very strong, and we've kind of got the opportunity. I'll say it is an opportunity for us to see the dominance that Guinea kind of asserted on the rest of the field here at Nurburgring, and that's definitely something that it's great to see, and certainly that does mean that we have had a great race outcome here at the Nurburgring.
Yeah, I love the way you put that, mostly clean. That's like saying if you're changing the oil in your car and then you're carrying the oil pan across the garage and you trip and spill it and oil goes everywhere, your garage is still mostly clean if it weren't for that oil. A perfect metaphor for our race today. And of course, big thanks to everybody for tuning in for both of our races today. If you were with us the whole time, then good job. We're big fans of you all. And if you're big fans of us, you can check us out on the internet. Any one of our links right down below the screen. Smorgasbord of social media available for you. AMX Global out there wherever you want to find us. If you have additional questions, hit us up on the AMX Global Discord. Find links to that on our website, amxrace.com, where you too can sign up to be a part of our $18,000 prize pool available for you this season. We will see you back here next time tomorrow for even more racing action as we continue more iRacing in Season 2. AMX Global, thanks for watching. We'll see you then.